Tonight I'm going to show you how to make a delicious smothered hamburger steak and potato casserole. Let's get it. With that being said, we have a bowl right here, my loves, and to the bowl we're going to add our ground beef. This is grass-fed ground beef, about 1.5 pounds. We're going to start off with adding some garlic powder along with the onion powder. Add your favorite brand of seasoning. However, I'm going to add my all-purpose chicken seasoning, which you could use for anything, not just chicken. I'm going to add a good amount of this right here because not only is it low sodium, but I want to kick off the flavors as well. Let's add some breadcrumbs. Just in case you're wondering, this is garlic and herb breadcrumbs. However, if you want to use, let's say, maybe Italian style breadcrumbs or even plain breadcrumbs, you can use that as well. Salt and ground black pepper. When it comes to the sodium, add as much or as little bit as you prefer. If you don't want to add the sodium, you don't have to. We're going to get down. We're going to literally combine all of our ingredients without over mixing the beef, right? If that makes sense. If you want your beef to remain tender, it's really important not to over mix while incorporating the ingredients. All right, just get everything folded on in. The great thing about this recipe is it's going to be like a full-on recipe, right? You're going to have all of the flavors. It's going to be a full course meal. The only difference is it's only going to take us about 30 minutes or less to put this meal together, which is always great. You don't want to skimp on nutrition when it comes to cooking quickly. A lot of times we figure quick meals are those meals that's going to be not so healthy for us. Everything seems to be perfectly combined. It is smelling absolutely delicious, of course. And that's about it. We're going to take our meat. All right, this side should be good. And we're just gonna basically roll it out into meat patties, of course. So far I got about 4, 5, and 6. We're gonna roll it to form a ball, and once we're done, smash burger time, baby. Smash it on out like this, and that should be perfect. Place it right there, and we're gonna continue doing the same thing for all of the other burgers. Get those arms going. Doesn't have to be perfect at all. You want to make sure that you're able to form the patties without any type of problem. If the patty is too loose and it's not staying together, add some more breadcrumbs. All right, that's why it's really essential to add a small amount of breadcrumbs before you add a lot. Because if you add a lot of breadcrumbs, what can I tell you, right? You may not have any more meat on hand, and I can't tell you to take it out. You just got to deal with the tough ground beef. You know what I mean? It's not going to be so juicy and tender. Always start off with adding just a small amount, work your way through. And if you need to add additional seasoning or additional, in this case, breadcrumbs, you definitely can. Right now in the northern East Coast, it's winter time. And I don't know about you, but I love recipes that provide a ton of comfort, not just to the palate, but to the belly as well. Honestly, I just love comfort food because it just makes you feel cozy, you know what I mean? For this recipe, we're going to be using our heavy-duty cast iron skillet. However, if you have a stainless steel heavy-duty pan, you could definitely rock out with that as well. Now, let's see. Nice and hot. I see that little smoke coming off of the pan. We're not going to overwhelm it with too much oil. Not necessary whatsoever. Once the oil is up to temperature, we're going to add our Hamburger Steaks. I got about 6. This is a medium-sized pan. Hopefully everything is going to fit into the pan. No! All right, you know what? I'm just going to wait patiently. Now here's the thing, right? I should have pulled out the large cast iron skillet, but that's all right. All right, after about 2 minutes, we're going to flip the burgers over. We have nice brown color going on, which is perfect. Searing perfectly, that's what we need. And we're going to flip the last one over. We're not going to overcook the burgers. That's another thing, all right? We're going to cook it just enough to continue to maintain that moisture. When you bite into it, you want it to be nice and succulent, nice and juicy. Nevertheless, yes, it's going to be smothered, so it's going to also pick up a lot of flavor not to mention even more hydration from the gravy as well. We have the perfect sear on the burgers, so we're going to go ahead and remove them, of course. If you want to test whether or not if your burgers are cooked all the way through, just touch it, and if it's bouncing, the meat is cooked. There's no need to overcook. All right, all of the burgers have that perfect sear going on. Nevertheless, our pan is still hot, so I'm going to go ahead and drop the temperature on that just a bit, because I don't want to set off the smoke alarm. Now, here's the thing. This pan is packed with a ton of flavors, right, from our ground beef and all of those perfect seasonings. So with that being said, we are going to take the time to introduce our butter to the pan, of course, allow it to melt. And for this particular recipe, nevertheless, right, I was going to add only sliced onions, but I had some additional onions that were diced that was left over from a previous recipe. So nothing over here goes to waste, if you get what I mean. And it's just to also show you that it doesn't matter what you add as far as whether or not if the onions are diced, sliced, chopped, it doesn't matter. We're going to cook our onions down until it becomes slightly translucent and fragrant. All right, our onions are broken down and they are smelled. The aroma from the onions is smelling so good. With that being said, let's add some flour. All right, and the flour is going to work as a thickening agent. Nevertheless, we are going to cook this flour in this hot pan until we get rid of that floury taste. If you've ever tasted a gravy that has not been cooked down properly, right, during the beginning stages of the cooking process, you'll definitely taste that floury taste, and it's not a pleasant taste. So I would tell you to send it back to the kitchen, okay? All right, we're going to continue combining the flour and toasting it up. Time to introduce some liquid. We're going to add some beef broth. If you don't have beef broth on hand, if you're a person like me, because whenever I buy beef broth, I don't use it in a timely fashion, and then by the time I'm ready for it, it's no good. So I was like, you know what we're going to do is get some water, add a little bit of that beef flavor, beef bouillon, or chicken bouillon, or anything of that nature. Combine it really well with water, and we have some flavorful broth, if you will. But nevertheless, whenever doing that, it's really important not to use an excessive amount of bouillon, because bouillon is high in sodium. So you want to be careful with that part. All right, at this point in time, we're going to allow our sauce some time to not only thicken up, but we want to get all of those bits from the bottom of the pan released while adding some Worcestershire sauce. It's going to tie in perfectly with the gravy, because if you didn't know, Worcestershire sauce has 3 different flavor profiles: sweet, salty, and savory. Just add some all-purpose seasoning. Add your favorite brand of seasoning, whatever that may be. Because I want my gravy to have a deep, rich color, we're going to add a small amount of browning. Add your favorite brand of browning. Now, just to give you an idea, there's a couple that I use. You have Grace Browning, you have Kitchen Bouquet, and you have Walker's Wood. We're going to be incorporating mashed potatoes with this recipe. So it's really important to get those potatoes on the stove top and allow them to boil until fork tender, which is going to take about 15 to 20 minutes. We're going to take our burger patties and place it into the gravy. That's it. We're going to lower the flame and allow it to go for about, I want to say about 5 minutes, because like I said, I want all of the gravy to soak into the burgers. Those are still hot. As you can see, the steam is releasing from the potatoes. I'm going to go ahead and add a nub of butter. That's about, I want to say 2 tablespoons of butter. Just getting there, break the potatoes on up. And I gotta be honest, right? Once the potatoes are fork tender, it's so much easier to mash. You don't want to overboil the potatoes, but you want it to be able to break down easily without any resistance. All right, potatoes are looking a little dry. So to this mix, we are going to add some heavy cream. However, feel free to add whatever your preferred dairy is. So I'm going to swap our potato masher for my spatula. All right, this is good. Now, here's the thing. We got to season it on up because the potatoes, even though we added salted butter, right? We didn't add a lot of butter, so it's not going to be salty. I'm going to add some ground black pepper and salt. All right, this smells amazing. And in the meantime, we're just going to put it to the side and go ahead and grab our 9x13 casserole dish, because did I forget to mention, this dinner is going to go into the oven. We're going to take a big giant sized spoonful of this beautiful pillowy mashed potatoes, and we're going to place it into our casserole dish. Woo! Take the back of the spatula, of course, or if you're using a spoon, just spread it out evenly into the dish, of course. Now, I know you may say, right, but Tammy, why can't you just put the Salisbury hamburger steaks on top of the potato and pretty much just complete the process over the stovetop, right? You make your hamburger steaks, you make your mashed potatoes, and you serve it up like this. Simply because when you add it to the oven as a casserole, not only is it gonna allow everything to set and not be soupy and sloppy when serving, it makes it easier serve for one. And you're also trying to create unified comfort flavor. Okay, what I mean when I say that is simple. You want all of the flavors to marry, okay? You want the gravy to seep deep into the potatoes. And you want the meat to continue to soak up all of that delicious flavor from the gravy as well. All right, trust me on this. It's gonna work out perfectly fine. That much I can promise you. All right, we're gonna take our steaks and we're gonna place it on top. Hamburger steak number 1. Excuse the sound outside. The snowplow is in the area because we are snowed in. All right, yeah, seems like we're gonna be able to fit everything into the dish. Hubby was hoping that all of the hamburger steaks weren't gonna be able to fit into the casserole dish because he already had his hamburger buns set and ready to go. All right, now here's the thing. We have all of this delicious, beautiful gravy going on. What are we gonna do with it? What are we gonna do with it? Is that what you're asking? We're gonna take it and we're gonna spread it on the top. We're gonna take those beautiful onions and we're gonna add it to the top of our burger steaks, of course. Come on now, let's act like we know what time it is. We're gonna turn this around so we get a better view. And we're just gonna drizzle it on just like that, okay? If you wanna reserve some of the gravy for when it comes out of the... In the meanwhile, I'm gonna go ahead and clean up just a bit because I don't want the oven to start smoking once you place it in there, because you know how it could be once you have that drippy mess going on. We're gonna place this into our preheated 375-degree oven for about 25 to 30 minutes, uncovered. Don't cover it down with any type of foil or aluminum. Let's go in for the big taste test. It's about that time. We have the gravy going on. On the money. On the money. The hamburger steak, nice and tender, cooked all the way through, potatoes perfectly seasoned, and just like I said, the gravy had seeped all the way down into the potatoes, and it tastes absolutely comforting and heartwarming. The meat is tender, not to mention this, the buttery, pillowy, soft mashed potatoes. My goodness. I want you guys to give this recipe a try. You're going to click on where it says more at the bottom of this video, and the word more, M-O-R-E, is in bold lettering. Once you click on it, a drop-down box is going to be displayed with the full recipe details, of course, because I'm going to make sure I put it all in there. And how am I going to enjoy the rest of this delicious meal? Of course, with a side salad. I have some mixed greens, and I'm going to add a little bit of dressing, serve it up with a side salad, maybe sip on maybe some Pellegrino, if you will. And that's about it, my loves. As always, I will definitely catch you guys in another video. If you are interested in seasonings, cookingwithtammy.shop. And that's about it, my loves. I'll definitely catch you in another video. Talk to you later. Bye, guys.